Hey, hey.
What's up? How's it going? All right, let me hold on. Let me get to some cool chill music. Pat, Michael, thank you for joining us.
How's it
Let's see. Give
going?
me some.
That music
It's good.
ended like at perfect timing. Is it meant to do that?
Yeah, I think it
Uh,
syncs with the countdown,
Yeah, that was
and then
crazy.
it like
That's how I knew it
That
was
makes
flows
starting.
in there.
that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I was perplexed. I was like, "Wait, we're live?"
Let's
That's
see.
amazing.
I'm gonna try. Let's see here. Actually, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try chill. Hold up. Hold up. Let's see. That's
That's
lo-fi. Let's
kind
see
of a
some
vibe.
chill.
I kind of like it.
Let's see here. There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah. Moonbeam. You're like chilling in the little nightclub,
Let's
All
go.
right. Well, we're here. I see there's people. We got folks on Moonbeam. Like, this is so cool. Pat and Michael, like, during the backer kit, we had to do these. And it was like we were never like actually on Moonbeam, like with people on it. And it's like so cool. Hey everybody. Woo!
Hello, hello.
Yeah. And we got folks out there
Excited.
on at Twitch, YouTube. I see some. We got X. Okay. Hey everybody, how's it going? So
Sweet.
yeah, well, where to start? Pat, Michael, how you all feeling?
Feeling great. Feeling great. It's been a nice couple weeks. Lots of lines of code have been written and deployed pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I know Michael's had a Michael's had a fun ride the last couple weeks too. But no, feeling great. Super excited about where we are.
Yeah, Michael, how's it going with the app? You've been tell us how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good, especially tomorrow. I think this next update will be nice, bring a lot of nice features and fixes. So
Cool.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about the app. We're gonna talk about the way forward, kind of what happened in these first 2 weeks. It's not even tomorrow. What is it? Tomorrow's technically the 2 week mark, right, Pat?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
tomorrow like midnight
Yeah. So
Eastern.
we're almost at the 2 week mark. And so I'm gonna kind of, for everybody in the audience, just you could ask questions and we'll get to them. And there's a few that I saw in our post that we will jump to. But I want to ask Pat. Pat is the CEO, and he's been with me in this journey. What, 2 years now? Literally, will be just around the corner.
That is
Um,
wild.
we had many talks about how crucial, like, the actual launch would go for alpha. Um, we did the backer kit. We did a lot of like risky things with our vision, right? Like the backer kit was risky because tech doesn't fund on crowdfunding. We succeeded at that, and then the alpha was like the next big milestone. Was like, what's going to happen? So, like, from the horse's mouth, from the CEO, like how does the last 2 weeks help shape the future of Moonbeam as a platform?
Yeah, that's a great question, and also it is wild that it's going to be like 2 years coming up in like January, February, right? That's when we started
Yeah.
really ideating on all that. That's mind blowing. Actually, I need to let that sink in for a minute. But no, in terms of the progress, you're right to point out that like every step of the way we've done things a bit not traditionally, I would say. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've taken some
Mm-hmm.
serious risks that were like well calculated and uh, adjusted so that it's not just a gamble. But there've been some real milestones that we've hit that are kind of like turning points. Like, okay, what's going to happen when we launch the backer kit? What's going to happen when we open alpha testing? And you can't ever look on the other side of those events, and so in the moment it's kind of scary, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
exciting, but you can never know how it's going to go. And each and every time we've had one of those moments, and it's not just those two events, it's other things as well, but every single time we've had one of those moments, uh, our like amazing early adopters, this community that we've built has like risen to the challenge
Mm-hmm.
uh, and made each and every one of those milestones go incredibly well. So how it shapes the future of Moonbeam, I think it is, one of those on the other side of the door in the moment. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I'm incredibly confident that no matter what is coming down the pipeline over the next, I mean, I want to say like years, but honestly, just over like the next couple months, like even
Mm-hmm.
bringing that
Mm-hmm.
scope much narrower even over like the next couple weeks, that this community has our back and that we have our communities back, and we're going to continue building a platform for them, for us, and that they'll continue to like help out in the amazing ways that they have, with the feedback, with the iteration, with the ideas, with the support, with the sharing, with all of it. So
Yeah.
how exactly it shapes the future, we'll have to see what the future holds. But I'm confident, just with the amazing community we have, that whatever that future is, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. How about you? What do you think? That's just such a good question. I need to like reflect on that some more.
Yeah, I think we've kind of talked, you and I a little bit about this. And for everyone who's watching now, I'm going to share some thoughts, because I think what we're doing with Moonbeam and like what you're doing as early adopters I really think we are revolutionizing like the way social media is in the future. Like, I think that this is the future of social media. This is the future of content creation. And it goes back to like human behavior. Like, social media platforms are built digitally, but they are no different than like a community in the physical reality, right? People are people, and they're going to act and do things a certain way. And this phenomenon of like, when we started Moonbeam, all the people in tech and in the industry, they're like, oh, you can't fund, through crowdfunding. Social media, you have to offer everything for free and kind of like go into this really big debt, and then like try to trick all the people on the back end to like monetize them and everything, right? And we're like, that's why we're doing this. Like, we're just pissed off about that whole cycle that sucks. And I think, I study political science and history and stuff, and this happened in the last century, right? Like, people left cities when cities started to kind of suck, when they were crime, as they started to deteriorate, and they moved away. And I think like in the digital space, like the cities are X, they are, the Facebooks and Twitches, and they kind of are being overrun with like bots, hate, trolls, crime essentially. And people are tired, and they want to like flee, and they want to go somewhere nice. And I think everything we've done with Moonbeam is, we kind of like knew this, and the expert people, they said we were wrong, but it's like, when and we're, I think, very in tune with the community and with what we're trying to do with the internet. And I think it's like manifested as like, oh wow, it's what a crazy concept. People are tired of like the horrible things online, and they want someplace cool. So that's why I'm excited to see it. Like, every step of the way, our community has had our back, and they've proven this. And to the people on the outside, they're like, what? Who would have thought? And we're like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious.
That's been
Yeah.
the amazing thing, is like taking some of the feedback we've gotten, and showing it to the folks who were like, oh, like, why are you doing it that way? Why don't you just like do this other kind of more traditional route, that totally works? Usually it doesn't. And taking that feedback and showing people like, hey, look, like, this is something very, very special. I've always said, like, ideally, in the grand scheme of things, Moonbeam, like, the next massive platform. And I'm confident it will be. What I'm supremely confident in is that, like, whatever happens, this will be a kind of a manual that, like, you can actually create a platform that prioritizes community and real connection and safety, that it can be actually like at the foundation of your platform, and you're not hurting or minimizing your chance of virality or of growth or of the network effects that tend to dominate social media landscapes. But instead, you build a community, and community members join who share those values, and that in turn kind of snowballs into a wonderful, wonderful space. I mean, that's the bet. That's like fundamentally the bet here. But this amazing community has taken that bet and manifested it in really impressive ways. Even at the 2-week mark. Because again, 14 days, y'all. It's been 14 days. And we already see growth. We see user growth. We see people inviting their friends into their realms and making them part of that community. It's wild. And it's 14 days. It's been 14 days. So yeah, I agree with you. It's wild. It's crazy.
before we dive into the questions here, we'll do that in a second. I just want to get Michael's take because Michael's seen this too, for a while now, and like, I'm just curious, Michael. You work in tech. You're a developer. Like, we've talked. So tell the audience kind of like what do you think of like how big it is, like a deal that what we've achieved.
I think it's a huge deal, especially I like to compare it to like indie game developers that are doing their own thing and get discovered versus like a AAA studio. And that's kind of like what we're doing. And we're taking a very different approach. And especially with the backer kit. So yeah, I think I like to make an analogy to that. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. That's a really good like lens to look at that through, because this is not the, we're not backed by
traditional way at
Google,
all. Yeah.
It's not, Facebook isn't funding us. So it feels very that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's dive into some of the questions here. I want to talk about that. You talked about funding, and I think this is important to talk about with the community, because they're investing their time and effort on Moonbeam. And I want to just hint, we don't, there's things we can share, there's things we can't, but I want to hint for them, Pat, what does that look like now based on the achievements we have in alpha to get the funding we need to really grow the platform? Because right now we're in the alpha, and the alpha is like the proving out stage for stability and making sure the platform, we stabilize it and everything. But the next thing with growth requires money. So do you want to kind of hint at that for the group here about how that looks, how our luck looks now?
Yeah, totally. And I imagine we're going to have lots of hinting at that and also just very explicit conversations about it. Right now, like alpha, this phase is very much about stability and making sure that the platform lives up to your expectations, and also lives up to your needs. Like you as a creator, as an audience member, you need the platform to do certain things. And we want to be able to guarantee that in at least the vast, vast, vast majority of cases that it meets those needs. And there will always be rooms for improvement. There will be bugs, there'll be super niche edge cases that happen, that will always kind of ideally address. But at least in the vast majority of cases, the platform is stable and it's growing. And already, that was the goal. And we loved getting the feedback and hearing the reports of the bugs and fixing them, fixing a lot of them. There's still some fixes en route. I just got done with a very large pull request to fix some things with chat room management, for example. But that was the goal, and the response from the community has already been so positive and so uplifting and so encouraging that we are seeing growth. Not even just stability, not even just bug reports, but we're seeing new people coming into the platform, and that is such a privilege. Not only because it indicates trust and faith in what we're doing and in the mission, but also because it helps us get to that next stage, which is not just stability, but rapid growth, where we can bring on lots of new creators, lots of new audience members, and welcome them into the Moonbeam community with our values and our goals and our aspirations. And then your realms can grow, your realms can get new viewers, posts can go viral, and all of that ideally built on the bedrock of our values for safety and for creator sustainability. So that's kind of the next phase for us, and it's well timed because that will propel us into really great opportunities to get more funding to make all that happen. It is wild because it's like, okay, yeah, to do alpha testing, it's not cheap at all. I mean, streaming is not inexpensive, but it's doable. But to really actually bring on the population of the world, right, to bring them into the Moonbeam community, that takes some serious capital. It takes some serious capital to try to learn how to bring those people on board, to structure the product in fun, engaging ways. And so, it takes time, it takes money, and that will be kind of the next phase for us, is pursuing funding. And that growth that we've already seen helps us so much. That
Yeah.
really proves that there's a big need, a big demand for what we're doing.
And this will be cool because, our team is extremely hardworking. Everyone believes in this, like as almost at a philosophical level, because like we have some full time engineers that are on there right now. They have taken a huge pay cut to do this, to do Moonbeam, because they believe in it so much. The other members of our team, some of them, most of them are part time, and then there's folks like me. Like I have not taken a dime yet because we know the funds need to be used correctly until we get the funding we need to grow. But it's like we did this with like a ragtag team of pirates and like, like whatever we got on hand. And it's like, if we did this, I like, holy crap. Like when we're all doing this full time all the time, like, hell yeah, it's going to be great. So with that, let's jump to our first question. This is from Cap. Captivator, what's up? I know you're out there in the audience, and this is from the post we had. So stream quality as we go forward, what can we expect as we scale up? What is the streaming quality going to be like? I know, Pat, you and I've had some very innovative conversations about that on the spectrum of what we could do. Michael, feel free to chime in here with Pat, but what do you all think about what does that look like going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. And stream quality, it's fundamental to a streaming platform. That makes sense. Right now, we do offer up to 1080p, depending on available bit rates and things. We don't offer transcoding, but there are kind of some investigations going on behind the scenes, so maybe we can test it out. So it may be available occasionally as we kind of figure things out. We would love to offer 4K streaming. That would be ideal. That'd be amazing if we could do that. And then you could stream in like IMAX. That'd be super sick. Timeline for that is unclear right now. Right now, we really want to make sure that we can get the fundamentals right with delivering 720, 1080, and then even kind of transcoded down to the lower qualities for standard definition in case people are on mobile devices or in areas that don't have super robust internet access. So timeline, unclear, but we definitely want to deliver the best streaming experience as possible.
Do you think in terms of timeline, let's talk broadly. So we have alpha, then we have beta, then we have like full launch. Where do you think this would fall? Like looking at serious improvements to that.
That's probably something that falls in the full launch category. But what I'd expect to see is experiments in beta about different tactics that we can try to deliver higher quality streams for different audience members, different people, maybe different network conditions we can see. That is something that we'd want to experiment with as early as possible because it is kind of core to the infrastructure. We don't want to be testing that out with, like 100 million active streamers all at once. That could be fairly bad. So, but not a fully like robust solution or new features until later on when we have some funds to cover
to cover the cost.
Yeah, and the cost of it all.
Yeah.
It is expensive. I mean, it is expensive. And it's one of those things, you can predict it all. Like you can map it out in the spreadsheets. You can have your Google Sheet going. I've become an expert at Excel, not even remotely, but kind of. And it's possible to map these things out. There are formulas and cost projections that different vendors will offer. But it's another thing to actually see that cost happen because, if you see like, oh, it costs this much, you're like, wow, like people were watching streams on the platform. Like people were actually streaming to Moonbeam with our infrastructure. So it's all still a bit surreal. And as we figure out these patterns of, when people are primarily streaming, what that load looks like on our infrastructure, that's when we get better data that we can kind of model all this stuff out.
Michael, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't see a huge rush to get the higher quality streaming, especially because I think the most common resolution is 720p when like on the consumption end.
Mm.
So most people are watching at 720p anyways.
Okay. I have something I want to add here. And for those watching who are realm owners, I would love your input whenever on this kind of stuff. So, you know, we looked at like Twitch with South Korea. They had to leave because the bandwidth cost got so high. No streaming service in the world has gotten this right? How to get such high quality, because it just costs. I think Moonbeam is in a unique position because we're built around realms. And so you have streamers and then you have realms, right? And so I kind of have been thinking about if there's a way where realms could opt in, cover some of the costs to do that, if they wanted to opt in, and almost use it as a way to recruit streamers to their realm. Because like, hey, if you stream here in this realm, you're getting the high quality stuff, and then it goes into that ecosystem balance of like, it's a way for us to be real with people, right? Like this is expensive, and there's a reason why no other platform can do it sustainably. So I don't want to lie about that, right? I want to be kind of honest and say, but what that also means is we don't want to take it off the table. But I think with the realm construct, we do have something cool to think about. So if you're a realm owner, I'd be interested to know, you know, hey, maybe that could be a benefit of Moonbeam Plus. I don't know, or something. Like, just think about these kind of concepts of, if you're a realm owner, what tools can we give you to leverage recruiting streamers to your realm to stream? And I think this might be one of them. And it's a way that like makes sense from a real talk kind of perspective of like, hey, this is some real talk. I think we can innovate and be doing something really awesome here. Because again, we don't like make money off of selling bandwidth. That's not what Moonbeam does. That's the provider on their end. But we do have to cover that. So food for thought. That's my, so that answers that question, but also hopefully get some feedback solicited from the community on that.
Yeah, I'd be super interested to hear that feedback too.
Yeah.
That'd be really wonderful. And yeah, ideally, you know, none of those, it's not like, oh, pay us to deliver 480 content. But yeah, those like ultra high resolutions. They
Yeah,
get
like
so
4K
expensive.
and all that. Yeah, like that. And one day IMAX quality, right?
I know, yeah.
Oh,
We're gonna be streaming the latest
Laser.
release on
We'll
Moonbeam.
have a VR feed.
VR feed. Here we go. Let's see. We got another question. I'm gonna go through some external stream bot support, like StreamBot, Stream Elements. Will we support like those bots integrating into Moonbeam, or will we maybe have like Pixis and other kind of homegrown solutions to do that kind of thing?
That's a great question. No, and I think it's vital. I mean, you know, in like streaming, you have creators, you know, incredibly creative and delivering like awesome content. But also you have developers too, that build these tools that make everybody's life not only easier, but in so many cases more delightful. So no, I would love to have a very like fully fledged app store, bot store, integration suite, maybe is the better word for it. But something that lets people who have ideas for features, you know, like just build it themselves and ship it and see how it goes. I think that just creates an ecosystem where everybody is super involved, everybody's super invested in the success of the platform. And I will always stand by the fact that people are way more creative than products. And so I would love to see all of the bots that get made that make the experience richer. And the design constraint, of course, is not, you know, walking back on any of the things that we stand for. Like, we don't want bots to like overrun the platform. And so we have to go about it like really, really pragmatically, just to make sure that, you know, we're exposing the APIs that are necessary and still not allowing just like a bunch of bot users to take advantage of those APIs or slip in somehow. So it's a hard challenge, but I'm really excited for that because I think it'd be a blast. But Michael, we've talked about this, right? We've talked about like API integrations, and I think the team wants it.
Definitely, yeah.
Let's jump to one of the big topics on a lot of people's minds, the mobile app. So I'm going to preface a few things, and Michael, you can give a little bit more details. So right now, for everybody watching, we had a bunch of people Michael's turned his camera off. I love it. He's like, I'm not having technical difficulties. So let me give some under the hood stuff here. We wanted to get the app out to you all as soon as we possibly could. There were some constraints in that process, being specifically with like Google, Android. After we hit a certain threshold of testers, that's because it's not a real app, it's a test app technically. So once we have a certain number of testers, Google like requires a bunch of more information, and they kind of closed our pipeline down. So that's why a lot of Android users have not gotten access to the app yet, because we kind of hit the ceiling of people we could that Google would allow us to support, and then they constrained it. And then iOS, because I have iOS, there are some not as many. I think people are having issues. Some with like the login, I think, is where they're putting in their username and password and it's loading. So there are some things there, but not as many as we've seen with Android, being just everybody can't get on. But Michael, with that grenade, over to you. But honestly, though, for everybody there, I think those who do have it, and all of us at Moonbeam, like, thank God Michael like puts it together super, super fast, because it has helped me out in using Moonbeam when I'm away from my computer. So again, huge kudos. But just want to give some behind the scenes what's going on with the app.
Yeah, like you said, Google is requiring like this review process and everything just for a closed beta. So we had to get through that first. And as far as the login bugs, hopefully tomorrow that update fixes it. It's strange because I have not encountered that once in all my testing. So I don't know what's going on there, but I did improve the flow a lot. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. It's so interesting seeing, like, I'm going to speak as the not tech person, because I'm not an engineer, but like really being a part of the team and appreciating like the complexity of the work that engineers do, because it's almost like, coming in, I'm like, oh, it's just it's just an app, or it's just a platform. How hard could it be? But when you look at like all the different devices in the world that have to have compatibility with this thing, it blows your mind at like how complex it is. And then seeing the bug reports come in, it's like wild how like, oh, this one weird bug only happens on like this one very specific device or something. Or like when you push the letter W on your keyboard and move the mouse at this certain degree, a bug it's like the weirdest thing. But yeah. So let's see here. So yeah, so app updates are coming, everyone. Michael is that's what he's focused on full time now in terms of his role here at Moonbeam, is the app. He's shifted and he's focusing on that, while the majority of the other engineering team is focused on the platform itself. Pat, is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, hats off, because that app is sick. It is amazing. I love using it. And I know, there's like a couple things. I've seen the bug reports come in. I've triaged a couple, but it is so shockingly smooth. And the animations on like liking the post and all these sorts of things, it's just it's amazing to see like the level of attention and detail and care that goes into still prioritizing those things, even at like the earliest stage. It's been remarkable to see that app progress. And I started as a mobile engineer, and still just shocked at how incredible that app is. Again, at the 14-day mark. So
not even, yeah.
Not even at the 13-day mark. It's amazing. And apps particularly, websites have that problem that you mentioned, Anthony, about like, oh yeah, like this one version of this one browser, the pause button doesn't show up if you hover over the stream, and you're like, what? But apps are like so tied into the operating system of the phone that like there are just some really strange things that can happen with those bugs. So happy hunting to all of our early adopters for those bugs, and then happy squashing to Michael. Let me know how I can help. I do not know how to code the app that you built though. So
no, that makes sense.
Go ahead. What's really cool about that is it also runs on my Mac. I can actually build it and it'll run as a little application on my Mac, like a desktop app.
Okay, so I get like Moonbeam desktop app.
Well, I mean, it's not supported right now, but
wait, yeah. Does Michael have the Moonbeam desktop app over there? What's going on? Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I'll install
let's
it.
get
I
that
don't. I
going.
mean,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Let's give it a shot.
He's
That's
having all the good
amazing.
stuff.
Actually.
No wonder, like, I'm like waiting on the app update. Michael's got the whole
Over here on the
app.
desktop
Like,
app,
he's
yeah.
over here.
He's got
He's
the
in the
Xbox
future.
app, the Roku
He's already
app.
on full.
He's
He's
got it
already on
all.
full launch. So, wow. Cool. Let's see. I have some more things I want to. So I'm gonna bucket a few of these questions into one because I see them as like a lump kind of together. They're like around features on the platform, but I want to talk about them again in that alpha, beta, full launch kind of timeline because I think that helps us visualize it. Live stream like clipping and video on demand support, and then also like rewards for viewers and loyal community members, channel points, badges, things like that, for subscribers. And yeah, so like let's talk about that kind of thing. That's like the streaming experience, I guess, right? From both the streamer and the audience perspective of like the rewards, the subscriptions, the notifications in chat of like, hey, so and so gave moonstones, and badges. What are we looking at for that? Because we've talked a lot about that. Jark on our team actually was like the biggest proponent of like, we need to get that done now. Like he was very like, we got to do that now. Like it was cool to see like him coming from Twitch and understanding like the meaning of that. And I agree, like having like becoming a user of Moonbeam myself, it's like, yeah, that I want these things as well. We all do. So to the folks who make it happen, what are we looking at?
Yeah, that's those are like my favorite kind of features. Talking about, I guess, the kind of engagement focused ones, those are going to be very, very like front and center over the next couple weeks, months, quarters. Like we want to make streaming on Moonbeam feel like no other platform out there. We want every time somebody hops in the chat, every time somebody sends moonstones, every time somebody like uses an emoji or subscribe, we want that to feel amazing because it is. It's like we're all in this together. We're all building this together, and so those interactions, they need to feel incredible for everybody. And so those are going to be very, very front and center, especially as we are kind of looking at opening up to general launch, opening up in beta. So I would say, like, in terms of timeline, I guess it kind of depends on what the feature is. But I mean, even within alpha, like ideally in the next couple weeks or so, we'll start seeing those sorts of features roll out. Those are things we're very, very eager to experiment with, to find what works and what feels as amazing as it should.
Let me call one out in particular because this one I like a lot is the moonstones being paid to somebody in the chat. Are we prioritizing that? Is that like a high?
Yeah,
high
no,
on your, okay, cool.
Yeah, that is actually
yeah. Okay, cool. So for everybody out there, yeah, we are. Again, what's really cool about this is you all see me on Moonbeam in your streams. I'm chatting. I'm there. We're all like lurking and being a part of it. But the cool thing is, again, we're also using it. Like you see me streaming from time to time, and I'm bumbling around, and sometimes my settings aren't the best, but it's because I want to be a part of the journey that you all are a part of, and I want to be the advocate who's in the team while they're busy working on all the code and building everything out. I can come and say, hey, no, yeah, like that thing, yeah, that happens to me. I know, like Lewis, one of our folks in our realms, he's like, I keep getting logged out of my app. Like, I get logged out of the website all the time. And I'm like, Lewis, man, I'm there with you, man. Like I am on the log out struggle bus. And so, it's important because these things are going to get fixed. Okay. But it's important that we can kind of like laugh and joke about it because we're so in tune with it. It is a big deal to us as well. And like, it's just funny to see like, and resonate with people and be like, okay, yeah, that's important. Let's do that.
No, 100%. Yeah, there are a lot of features where I'm like, there's always that joke that I see, at least like in some tech circles, of like, I want to get an internship at company whatever, just so I can join, fix this one thing that I hate about the product, and then leave. And it very much is like that. Like I'll be clicking around Moonbeam and being like, oh, you know what? Like I just need to fix that. But then I'm like, oh wait, no, there are some critical bugs that have to get fixed too. So it's been a real lesson in like prioritization, and there's some things that we desperately want to do. Absolutely top of that list is a message, a beautifully designed message, I should say. We actually have the designs for it when moonstones are tipped on a stream. But then, you zoom out just a little bit and you're like, oh wait, but chat rooms right now need some serious need some fixes. And so it's a hard thing to prioritize, but that's why these first couple weeks are so critical. When we have people giving us that feedback, right? And that helps inform like, okay, hey, yeah, chat rooms, maybe this one feature needs some work, but also people are really asking for this one. And that would bring so much more delight than just fixing this bug, which we can fix, but maybe it just, maybe we don't put that at the top of the list. So when those things pop up, let us know, because it really helps us plan and prioritize work that is very critical. But yeah, I should point out that the tipping on the moonstones with the message, that is very important. Very important. That has a lot of attention.
Cool. Then this kind of, you touched on it. So this is part of another question here we'll go into, but the realms themselves, like the chat rooms, how does that look as we go forward in terms of supporting GIFs, reactions? Like I know a lot of people have said when someone reacts with like a thumbs up or a heart, they want to see who did that. Or the most desired edit button, like the edit feature, which I myself have fallen victim to, where I'm like, I can't edit this. So those kind of things, quality of life stuff for the realms. What do you think on that? Like, how do you see that?
Yeah, that's a good call. And I'll let Michael talk about that for mobile, because I actually those are different timelines for sure. But I do know that my edit button is going into the database and just fixing my message.
Oh, well, you're cheating. Everybody heard it, Pat. That's why all his messages are perfect.
I wouldn't do that. I'm horrified of going into the database. I don't do that because it will break everything if I go into the database. So, but yeah, those are all like very, very important things. The editing a message, super important. The reactions, particularly, like it's one of those things that like you don't really think about when in like pre-alpha, because you're like, oh wait, yeah, there's like 5 of us on this and somebody liked it, and I know that was Anthony. And so, but when you have a chat room that has a lot of people in it, you then suddenly you're like, wait, who did like this? So I am excited to actually say that is set for the next release, actually seeing at least on desktop who liked the message. And then also for mobile chat, not mobile app, but like mobile Safari or Chrome, a mobile web browser, getting a lot more intuitive kind of controls over liking messages and seeing who liked them. So that fortunately is coming soon. GIFs, all that will kind of roll out, I think, throughout alpha. Yeah.
Are GIFs already working?
GIFs are working, I believe.
They are. Wait, you got to write /GIF or something. Is that it?
Yeah. No, we had a GIF integration. I'll go check on that. We
did, and then I'm not sure if it went away or something.
Double check. Yeah, I should know that. Yo, leading up to launch, it was chaos. It was chaos. But yeah,
probably when you edited one of your messages, you deleted it out of the database.
That's what happens. That's why you're not going down.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can send images now. You can send even like a few images, and it will kind of put them in gallery view. I believe you can send GIFs, but obviously, yeah, like the Giphy kind of integration, just doing like a / kind of command with it. All that, not even like quality of life stuff. It's really just like, it's fun. It feels so fundamental. Like when it's missing, it's like, oh, whoa, what? So with web, I can say that is all that's in the pipeline for sure. But what about mobile? I'm actually not too sure.
For seeing reactions and likes, I'm assuming it would be pretty easy to implement as well. And I have no idea about like a GIF. Well, I guess Apple already has a GIF, like an image browser thing built in. Maybe you can like tap into that. So I don't know. Maybe that's easy to do as well.
Did you already have that on your super secret
Yeah,
desktop?
it's already on my desktop version.
It's
Yeah.
already the desktop app that he's got over there. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's in chat. Any other questions we got here? I got some more, but I love seeing the chat. Just it's so cool to see everybody here in Moonbeam chatting with us, hanging out. Let's see here for the let's see. What about subscriptions? I know a few people have gotten subscriptions already.
Yep.
Is that kind of like timeline wise? What are you thinking on really us fleshing that out? And just so everybody knows what we did, like when you're asking yourself, like, you know, the Moonstones, they don't send a message right now, and the subscriptions are kind of there, but it's a little bit like, what do you do with it? I was a huge advocate, and Pat knows this, like from day one, it's not normal that a platform does this where they put monetization ability on the platform in the beginning. But this goes back to the ethos of what we're trying to build here. Something no one else does. And we said, no, even in alpha, we got to have this just to see and like really understand what's happening and to allow people to tinker with it. And so we put them in and they're there. And that took a lot of work to like integrate with Stripe and all that. But now for like evolving that, what are we looking at, Pat?
No, I think the biggest change, and should be coming not by the end of the year, but very quickly thereafter, will be managing your subscription. So if somebody subscribes, right now they subscribed, but you kind of have to manually track who subscribes and add them to a role, give them access to whatever via that role. And one thing that we're going to ship, kind of the next big thing with subscriptions, will be automatically giving subscribers a role in your realm. So that way and you can rename it, you can do whatever you'd like with it. But that way it's very easy to set up chat rooms that are subscriber only, or in the future posts that might be subscriber only, or streams that might be subscriber only. Different perks to incentivize viewers to engage more fully with your content. Things that are in the pipeline, I think, for next release, are actually seeing a list of your subscribers in your realm. So that is coming up very, very, very soon. I don't want to put a date on it because dates always get pushed back, but I mean, ideally in the next couple days. Yeah. So
that's definitely soon alpha. We're talking.
Yeah, that's like that is our next release. So
cool.
I believe we'll probably be doing that release. Not tomorrow, because we did learn our lesson about releasing on Fridays. But like early next week, Monday, Sunday, even. Yeah.
Nice.
Not on Friday.
Okay, I got a few good questions here. Pixis. We've seen a lot. First of all, kudos to you, Pat, because seeing Pixis like survive the first few weeks of alpha has been impressive. And for everybody out there, again, Pat is the driving force behind that. He's the one who's been using his whole expertise in AI and ML to build that system out for us. So it's his baby, but it has stood up, and it's a little baby Pixis. It's learning. There's been some very funny interactions on the platform. But when can we expect people to interact with it to help, start teaching it? And that might be, again, when we look at things for alpha, beta, full launch, we can kind of show it in that. But what are your thoughts on how Pixis has lived up, and kind of like what's the future looking like for Pixis going forward?
Yeah, that's those are great questions. I think Pixis is just a little guy. He's just a little guy. He's learning right now. It is amazing actually to see that. Like, for the most part, Pixis rather, Pixis has held up a lot better than I expected. I'll lay that out on the table and be transparent with it. One of the hard things, and one thing that we've always like designed against, is in the lab, you can have an algorithm that has like amazing performance. Like, you can get like 100% accuracy, like 100% F1 score. You can get like AUC scores of like 0.9999, all this like incredible performance, but no real system does that, right? Like fundamentally, no real system ever achieves that sort of accuracy. And it can't because language evolves. Academic data sets tend not to. So you can really tune your systems for these sterile kind of environments where you're testing. But transitioning those systems into the real world, which is what we did with Pixis in alpha, it can be a dangerous thing. It can lead to super degraded performance. It can lead to decisions that are completely uninterpretable to a point where you're even like, I can't learn from this data. Like, this doesn't help me. Pixis was so wrong. But we haven't seen that. We've seen a system that can generalize, at least in the 13-day mark, to a lot of casual conversation. I expect that it will get better, but there have been tons of messages sent on Moonbeam, and Pixis has helped out with each and every one of those. So in the near future, Pixis is going to start learning because Pixis will have real data that it can help learn from and make people's lives easier. So that's a general goal of Pixis, is to take a lot of the data that we're getting, a lot of the feedback that we've gotten, and make Pixis better. But for the record, I'm kind of happy with how Pixis has done. Again, just a little guy. He's just a little guy, just finding his in the world.
He's just like bubbling around. He's bubbling around. What am I doing here? He's wondering.
And there have been incredible interactions too. Like, there have been very, very funny interactions where Pixis is like,
it calls people out. It's so weird. It's kind of funny. You're like, what? Why'd you call me out, Pixis?
Yeah,
get out of here.
I love it.
Let's see. Michael, I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on Pixis? What you think about it so far?
I love seeing when it's wrong. And it's rare, but it's funny when it's wrong.
It is kind of funny, but it's like, what I think is funny about that is like, it shows how like human interaction, without, like, let's take Pixis's sentiment analysis out. Like, that happens to all of us online. Like, we misinterpret someone's actual sentiment, right? And so it's kind of funny to see that happen. And I think it's kind of interesting to think about when Pixis is maybe doing it wrong. While it's kind of funny and you can laugh about it, you see people explain a little bit about what they really meant. And that's so fascinating because it creates a shared understanding in a text-based environment where you're missing out on a lot of cues for human interaction, body language, tone, articulation. And I think there's something here about like bringing back the humanness of interacting by this sentiment analysis of like conveying that, something that otherwise couldn't be conveyed. It's kind of neat, but it is hilarious when Pixis gets it.
It's amazing. Honestly, we need to make like maybe that'll be a good motivation for us to add images to comments on posts. So that way we could just keep a running list of very funny times that Pixis is way off base.
Let's see. I'm going to see here. Okay. Tyra, you have a good question about, thank you so much for your community drives, by the way, recruiting streamers, and for everyone, for all the realm owners out there. We know we have a place in the Moonbeam realm to do that. It's been super cool to see the organic interactions that we thought were going to take place. Like, if we give people a realm, they're going to build teams, and it's happening. So super cool, and thank you for that. But Tyra asks, what do we think about some of the streamers they've contacted or she's contacted has been people that are playing on consoles? Do we think we'll have console streaming available in the future? What do we think about that?
I'll let Mike take that.
No,
that's a Mike. Yeah.
I was gonna joke and say I already have it on my Xbox.
You got an Xbox. Get out of here.
Incredible.
Yeah.
No, I think it'd be sweet. I'm
what's
down.
Your thoughts on that? Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts on that, Michael?
I would love that. That'd be awesome. I think eventually we have it on the consoles and on at least on Apple TV or any smart TV. Having an app there would be really useful. Or even VR headsets would be awesome.
That'd be so sweet.
And then allow that, and then Pat, you think that would, like, if we go that route, and I think we want to, right? That's what you're saying. We're gonna go that route eventually.
Yeah.
And we would have it where they could stream from their Nintendo Switch or their PlayStation or whatever to Moonbeam. Right?
Yeah, I want Moonbeam to exist wherever amazing things are being created. Like that is the goal, is on every medium, every possible interface. Let's get Moonbeam there for sure. And then I also like mostly play games on console. So selfishly, again, maybe I should get an internship at Moonbeam, build that feature, and then leave, because I want that.
This is great. So we got about 10 minutes left. So if anybody has any hot pressing questions out there, I see two right now. I'm gonna go to folks over at Twitch are asking about beta or even alpha. How do they get in? I'll answer this one. So right now, to get into alpha, there's a few ways. The free way is to get an invite from a realm owner. Okay, there's a lot of realm owners on Moonbeam right now, over 170, I think. And so getting an invite from a realm owner to come on to Moonbeam, that's the easy way. If you want to do that, you could the best way would be on the Moonbeam subreddit. We don't run that, but it's there. You could post you want to invite. You could go to our backer kit page and put in the community area, the discussion area, that you want to invite. And you could also go to the backer kit store, and in the pre-order store, you could still buy alpha or beta access there as well. If you don't want to invite, or if you want to support us, if you really like what we're doing and you want to support us, you can go there and buy the access. You won't get all the cool stuff that came with the original backer kit, like all the badges and stuff, but you can still get in and support Moonbeam that way. And then for if you are a beta, backer, you could upgrade your account. You just hit us up at support@moonbeam.stream, and we could talk about how to upgrade your pledge level. That's happened a lot in the past 2 weeks, which has been surprising. But also, again, that action, your support, your investment in us, allows us to continue the Moonbeam dream, like for real. So in ways we can't express. So thank you so much for that. Let's see here. I'm going to look at another question we have. This is an interesting one from Fernando. Have we seen anyone trying to mess around with Pixis and troll it, or to like anything weird like that? Have we noticed any weird behavior that Pixis is struggling with, or anything like that?
I haven't, but that's not to say it hasn't happened. So Pixis works kind of on one primary level that most people will interact with. If you have a realm, Pixis will flag things and bring them to your mod queue. And so people totally could be, testing it out in their realms and just seeing what pops up in their mod queue. I know that we definitely have tested it. We have a Discord bot integration that we've used that's been fun and helpful to debug with. We also have in pre-alpha especially, and even in alpha, have a channel set up to test it, just so we can see how things evolve with the system as it gets more data. So no, I haven't seen anything, but if there's something I should be seeing, feel free to let me know. Just in case.
I've seen a few realms, and they're messing with it. Yeah, I've poked my head in a few realms, and it seems like it's going well. And I will be very upfront, and Pat, I think will agree. Test the hell out of it.
Yes.
Try to break it. Like, the whole point of this is that is good. Throw everything you can at it. Try to trick it with anything you can, because that's the whole point of alpha, is to kind of validate this stuff and go forward. And if you find anything, take a screenshot of it. Shoot it to us. We'd love to look at that. Yeah.
In fact, there actually was one bug report of a message that Pixis was continuously flagging as toxic that wasn't. And so those sorts of examples, incredibly helpful. Those help us really fine tune the system, especially if it's around a particular type of toxicity, or if it seems to be kind of drawn to certain words. Those sorts of things allow us to kind of debug in a meaningful way. Again, academic data sets, great. love them, have done a lot of cool things with academic data sets, but they are not representative of real world data. And so, that is a domain shift that we're constantly trying to make less and less, but is an active area of research too in the community. So if you have thoughts on how to make academic data look a lot more like real life data, hit me up. And there's a spot for you on our team. But yeah, any sort of examples like that. And the one I'm thinking of is in a bug report. It was really, really helpful to see. So
absolutely. All right, we're gonna close with these last two questions. I'll run through one of them real fast, and I'll pass the last one over to you all, and then we'll do final closing thoughts and comments. The question was asked: does Pixis learn per realm, or does it kind of aggregate it right now? And Pat, correct me if I'm wrong. Right now, it's aggregating it at the total high level for Moonbeam as a platform. Our goal for like full launch and beyond is to make this where we talked about it'll be specific to realms, so the realm owners will have a lot more control over Pixis within their realm, and it will kind of modify its behavior based on the norms there. Okay, still having the overarching kind of parameters, but then you can fine tune it down at your realm level.
100%.
The last question though is pipeline for better realm administration. So like being able to remove members or ban them, improving maybe the realm owner dashboard, if you will. Thoughts on that?
We care deeply about that. So please keep the ideas coming on that front, because we want to make that as easy as possible. And there are a lot of axes there. You have invitations, you have roles, you have streamers, you have like chat rooms, you have all this sort of stuff. It's quite a bit to kind of ship all at once. And so we're really, really eager to fine tune some of that, particularly around role administration. And some of the things I was literally just working on is chat room management, making sure that, you can't get into like error states that you can't get out of, making sure that, if you click the button 1,000 times, nothing weird happens. So definitely eager to address all of that. Yeah, we want to make sure that administering a realm, easy peasy.
Cool. All right, Michael, let's go to you. Closing thoughts and comments. Anything for the audience you want to tell them?
To add to that, to make it a lot easier as well to manage your realm, I think it would be really cool to have the moderation queue on mobile. That's something I really want to implement soon. Because I think it would be really convenient to just have that open next to you and easily just moderate while you're doing something else, or even be on the couch and moderating while you're not even near your computer. So I think that'd be useful.
That'd be so cool. You tell me these ideas and then I just want them right away. It's like, yeah, that's amazing.
Well, real quick, Michael, will it be Dex compatible? The app Dex compatible? Someone Cap is asking about the Android. Says, will it be Dex compatible?
Dex. I don't know what Dex is.
Maybe not.
So maybe.
we'll see. It's in the cards. It's possible. Pat, yeah, closing thoughts and comments.
I know. I mean, it's just amazing. Like 13-day mark. To see what has happened, to see the response truly is like, it's easy to see all of the things to fix and all the fires to put out. I mean, even this morning we had this thing that came to our attention. We're like, oh wow, like we have to fix that immediately. And it's easy to see that and be like, oh, we shouldn't have released that feature just then. Like we should have like waited. But every kind of step of the way, the community just like uplifts everything and everybody. I truly believe that like we have the absolute best cohort of early adopters that any product at any point in time has ever had. The fact that you all have been so supportive, that again, we've seen people come onto the platform through invitations, which we weren't really expecting to see. We've seen people double down and pledge more money to get access to things. That sort of support is like breathtaking, like really actually breathtaking, when you're like, whoa, that is wild, this thing that we've built. You know, I see all the bugs, I see all the things that we have to fix. But there are so many people out there that see a great deal of potential and put a great deal of faith in our ability to execute on that promise. It's remarkable. So I'm just excited. I am floored for the next couple months. We have some incredible things coming, and it's just going to be magical.
Awesome.
And it's wild to see a living platform too. Like to see what we built. It's just people are actually using it and active pretty much daily.
Yes, that I agree fully with you. And I think we've even had a conversation about that before, where it was like, I think it was during pre-alpha, but it's like, whoa, like this is a platform. Like, you know, it sort of accumulated over time, and then suddenly you take a step back and like, whoa, that's kind of weird. And yeah, Michael, I agree fully with you about that. It's just like seeing people just streaming on it and seeing messages kind of flying back and forth. It's surreal. Like it still kind of shocks me.
It is, and you know, for everybody who's supported us, that's been just like, again, it has been very validating for the last 2 years, with you, Pat, and with Michael and the other, you know, everybody on the team that has joined us through this 2-year process, to have so many people who were just like that, they just couldn't understand what we were doing, but to see that, like, the people that we care about, which are the folks who are using Moonbeam, they get it and we get it, and it's like, this is we're not alone. We know that this is going to work, and it's taking off in a lot of cool things. Again, with the outlook of funding for us is we've had some big developments, and that will continue through early next year to help propel and grow the team and stuff. Like, there are things like that are shaping up in a very good way. And again, for alpha, it's about that phase is about stability, building out the platform, making sure there's no bugs. But in it, we're seeing like growth patterns that we were not expecting till beta and beyond. And beta, and for everybody who's, you know, a part of the community now, I just want you to think the signals that says is that when we do open the doors to Moonbeam, it's going to get bananas. Like, it's going to grow so fast and exponentially, and you're all the first ones here. You're all the ones with the really cool realms that are going to know how to do everything. So you occupy a very special place in the history of Moonbeam as well, because the doors will open up. And when they do, you will reap the benefits of that, because you've invested in us, and you have been part of the journey, and our success is your success. And I'm just excited to share that together. So cool. All right. Well, hey, that's it. We're signing off. First AMA in the books on Moonbeam. All right, everybody. We'll take